Yo, it's Big Ant the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. Had to come tap in as 50 Cent has decided to jump out there and use his number one tactic as beef to promote his latest product that he executive produced. Once again, as this time around, it's BMF, as it's going to be a part 2 to the documentary side of the collective that they had going on Stars, as they had the TV show that got canceled this last season, but they also had a whole deal as a whole where they were doing the documentary part to kind of like tell the storyline of the TV series and everything that went on with BMF. And he put this up on the gram today with the trailer. And I can't post that trailer right here because it's copyrighted through Stars, so I can't let y'all hear it. But
50 Cent fires back at Big Meech's brother. As bail is reportedly blocked and forced, court hearings push the situation into a full legal and public showdown. The hip-hop world is once again caught in the middle of controversy as 50 Cent publicly responds to Big Meech's brother. Escalating tensions at the same time, reports surface that bail has been blocked and court hearings are now being forced. What initially appeared to be a war of words has quickly transformed into a serious situation involving legal pressure, personal history, and unresolved conflicts tied to one of the most infamous names in hip-hop and street culture. 50 Cent, known for never backing down from public disputes, did not stay silent when comments from Big Meech's brother began circulating online. Instead, he fired back directly, using social media to make his stance clear. His response was sharp, calculated, and carried the kind of tone fans have come to expect from someone who has built a career on confrontation, survival, and control of narrative. To 50 Cent, this was not just talk, it was about respect, legacy, and accountability. Big Meech's name alone carries weight. As the co-founder of BMF Black Mafia family, his story is deeply woven into hip-hop culture, street mythology, and entertainment. Over the years, countless artists have referenced BMF, and 50 Cent himself played a major role in bringing the story to television through his successful BNF series. Because of this connection, any tension involving Big Meech's family automatically draws attention, speculation, and strong opinions from fans and critics alike. The situation intensified when reports began to circulate that bail had been blocked in a related legal matter involving Big Meech's brother. While full court documents have not been made public, sources suggest that authorities are taking the situation seriously enough to deny bail and require mandatory court hearings. This development instantly shifted the story from online drama to real-world consequences. For many observers, the timing is impossible to ignore. As 50 Cent fires back publicly, the legal pressure on the other side appears to increase. This has led to widespread speculation about whether these events are connected or simply unfolding at the same time. While there is no confirmed evidence linking 50 Cent directly to the legal decisions, the overlap has fueled intense debate across social media platforms. Fans of 50 Cent argue that he is simply defending himself in his work. They believe he has the right to respond when his name or credibility is questioned, especially considering his role in turning the BMF story into a global entertainment success. Supporters point out that 50 Cent has consistently emphasized that his projects are based on real events, cooperation, and legal clearance, not personal vendettas. On the other side, critics believe that the situation highlights long-standing tension between entertainment, profit, and real-life consequences. Some argue that the commercialization of street history has created resentment, especially among those who feel excluded or misrepresented. In this view, the conflict is less about individual comments and more about control over narrative and legacy. Who blocked bail has become a major focal point of the discussion. In the legal system, denial of bail often signals that authorities believe there is a risk involved, whether it be flight risk, public safety, or interference with the case. Forced court hearings suggest that the matter will not be resolved quietly or quickly. Instead, it appears that this case is headed toward a prolonged legal process. Legal analysts online have been quick to point out that bail being blocked does not equal guilt. It simply means the court believes the case requires closer supervision. However, in the court of public opinion, nuance rarely survives. Headlines move fast. An association alone can damage reputations before facts are fully known. Meanwhile, 50 Cent continues to maintain a dominant presence online. His response was not just emotional, it was strategic. By speaking first and speaking loudly, he effectively shaped the narrative before others could. This has always been one of his strengths, controlling perception before opponents can define the story for him. This situation also raises questions about power dynamics. 50 Cent is no longer just a rapper. He is a media executive, producer, and businessman with influence far beyond music. When someone at that level speaks, people listen, including fans, media outlets, and sometimes even legal observers, whether intentional or not. His words carry impact. As forced court hearings loom and bail remains blocked, the tension surrounding this case continues to grow. What began as verbal back and forth now sits at the intersection of law, culture, and personal history. The stakes are no longer limited to pride or online reputation. They now involve freedom, credibility, and long-term consequences. At this stage, one thing is clear: this story is just beginning. With legal proceedings moving forward and public statements already made, there is little chance of a quiet resolution. Every update, every hearing, and every reaction will be closely watched, analyzed, and debated. As the situation develops, it becomes important to understand the deeper background behind the conflict. Between 50 Cent and Big Meech's brother, this is not a random argument that appeared overnight. It is rooted in years of history, unresolved tensions, and the complicated relationship between real-life figures and the entertainment industry that profits from their stories. 50 cents. Involvement with the BNF story goes far beyond casual interest. Through his television series, he transformed the rise and fall of Black Mafia family into a mainstream cultural product. The show brought massive attention, financial success, and renewed interest in a story that had once existed mainly in underground circles. For many fans, 50 Cent became the face of the modern BMF narrative, even though the story itself belonged to real people who lived it. This is where the conflict begins. When real-life stories are adapted into entertainment, questions of ownership and representation always follow. Big Meech's brother, according to online discussions, has expressed frustration about how certain aspects of the story are being told and who is benefiting from it. Some believe he feels sidelined, misrepresented, or excluded from the success that came from the BMF brand's revival. From 50 Cent's perspective, however, he has repeatedly claimed that everything he produced was done with legal approval and cooperation from those directly involved. He has stated in interviews that he does not move without paperwork, contracts, and clearance. To him, the criticism feels unfair and personal, especially when he believes he helped preserve and elevate a story that might have otherwise been forgotten by mainstream audiences. The conflict escalated when Big Meech's brother allegedly made public remarks that challenged 50 Cent's version of events. These comments, whether intentional or not, questioned 50 Cent's credibility and motives. For someone like 50 Cent, whose brand is built on control, respect, and dominance, such statements were never going to be ignored. That is why his response was immediate and aggressive. He did not choose diplomacy, he chose confrontation. His social media posts were direct, sarcastic, and designed to remind everyone of his position in both the industry and the culture. In typical 50 Cent fashion, he framed the situation as a matter of facts versus feelings, suggesting that emotions were driving the other side, not truth. At the same time, the legal situation involving Big Meech's brother became more serious. Reports of blocked bail and forced court hearings added a new dimension to the conflict. What was once just a debate over narrative and respect now appeared to involve real legal consequences. This development shifted public attention from entertainment, drama, to legal reality. Blocked bail suggests that authorities see the case as significant, enough to require detention or close monitoring. This could be due to several factors, such as the nature of the charges, previous records, or concerns about compliance. While the exact charges remain unclear to the public, the decision itself sends a strong message. This is not a minor issue. Forced court hearings further confirm that the case is moving into a structured legal process. There will be lawyers, judges, evidence, and official records. This means that social media narratives may soon collide with legal facts, and not everyone will be prepared for that shift. For 50 Cent, this legal turn creates both risk and advantage. On one hand, it makes the situation more sensitive, as anything he says publicly could potentially be used or misinterpreted. On the other hand, it strengthens his position in the public eye, because legal trouble on the other side can make his critics appear less credible, regardless of the actual truth. This is where perception becomes more powerful than reality. In public opinion, legal problems often overshadow original arguments. Instead of focusing on whether the BMF story was told fairly, people now focus on bail, arrests, and court dates. The original issue fades into the background, replaced by headlines about the justice system. The media also plays a major role in this shift. News outlets prefer dramatic angles: bail denied, court hearings forced, 50 Cent responds. These headlines generate clicks and engagement, even if they oversimplify complex legal situations. As a result, the public consumes a version of the story that is more emotional than factual. Another important factor is loyalty within hip-hop culture. Fans often choose sides based on personality, history, and image rather than evidence. 50 Cent, with his long career, survival story, and business success, has a powerful support base. Many people are naturally inclined to believe him, defend him, and dismiss criticism as jealousy or bitterness. Big Meech's brother, on the other hand, exists mostly outside the mainstream spotlight. Without the same media platform or public recognition, his voice struggles to compete with 50 Cent's influence. Even if his concerns are valid, they risk being drowned out by stronger narratives and louder platforms. As the legal process continues, the gap between these two sides may only grow wider. Courtrooms operate on evidence and procedure, while social media operates on emotion and perception. This creates a dangerous disconnect, where people form conclusions long before any official judgment is made. At this point, the conflict is no longer just about words exchanged online. It has become a symbol of a larger issue: who controls stories, who profits from history, and who pays the price when entertainment meets reality. As the legal pressure increases, the conflict between 50 Cent and Big Meech's brother is now entering a stage where public opinion, legal consequences, and long-term reputational damage all collide. What once looked like a personal dispute has now evolved into a complex situation involving the justice system, media narratives, and the power of celebrity influence. One of the biggest changes in this phase is how people are now paying closer attention to the court system rather than just social media. When bail is blocked and court hearings are forced, it sends a strong signal that authorities believe the matter requires serious oversight. This instantly shifts the tone of the entire story. Instead of fans debating online, the focus moves to judges, lawyers, and legal procedures. For many supporters of 50 Cent, this development feels like validation. They interpret the legal trouble on the other side as proof that his critics lack credibility. In their view, 50 Cent is simply defending his work while others are dealing with consequences of their own actions. This perspective strengthens his public position, even though no official connection has been made between his response and the legal decisions. However, legal experts warn against jumping to conclusions. The denial of bail does not mean someone is guilty. It simply means the court believes certain risks exist, such as the possibility of not appearing in court or interfering with the case. Unfortunately, public opinion rarely respects this distinction. Once legal trouble becomes public, reputations are damaged regardless of the final outcome. Another major factor shaping this stage of the story is the role of media framing. Headline: focusing on bail-blocked and forced hearings create a dramatic atmosphere that overshadows the original issue of narrative ownership and representation. The deeper questions about who controls the BMF story and how it should be told are now buried under legal language and speculation. This benefits one side more than the other. 50 Cent, as a powerful media figure, thrives in situations where narratives can be simplified. The public already sees him as a survivor, a strategist, and someone who always stays one step ahead. Legal problems affecting his critics only reinforce that image, even if the situations are unrelated. Big Meech's brother, on the other hand, now faces an uphill battle. Legal issues limit what he can say publicly, while 50 Cent continues to dominate the conversation. Lawyers often advise clients to remain silent during active cases, which means his side of the story becomes even quieter. Silence, in the digital age, is often interpreted as weakness or guilt. This creates a dangerous imbalance. One side controls the microphone, while the other is legally restricted. As a result, the public hears only one version of events, repeated and amplified across platforms. Over time, that version becomes accepted as reality, even without independent verification. Another important development is how this situation could affect the BMF brand itself. The television series has been a major success, attracting millions of viewers and generating significant revenue. But controversies surrounding real-life figures connected to the story can complicate future projects. Networks, advertisers, and investors prefer stability, not legal uncertainty. If the conflict continues to escalate, it could lead to increased scrutiny of the entire BMF franchise. Questions may arise about rights, permissions, and ethical representation. Even if everything is legally sound, public controversies can still pressure companies to distance themselves or modify content. From a cultural perspective, this situation reflects a broader pattern in hip-hop history. Many stories from the streets are later turned into entertainment, often by people who are not directly involved in the original events. While this can preserve history and create opportunities, it can also create resentment, especially when profits and recognition are unevenly distributed. The conflict between 50 Cent and Big Meech's brother symbolizes this tension. It is not just about two individuals. It represents a struggle over memory, ownership, and legacy. Who gets to tell the story? Who gets paid? And who gets erased? As forced court hearings approach, the legal system will likely provide answers to some questions, but not all. Courts deal with laws, not emotions or cultural impact. They may resolve charges, disputes, and procedures, but the deeper conflict about narrative control may remain unresolved. Public reaction continues to evolve. Some people are becoming more cautious, waiting for official outcomes before forming strong opinions. Others remain deeply invested in the drama, treating each update like a new episode in a series. This emotional investment keeps the story alive, even when real progress is slow. At this stage, the future of this conflict depends largely on what happens in court. If the legal case results in clear decisions, the public narrative may shift. Again, if the case drags on, the story may lose momentum, slowly fading from headlines but leaving lasting effects behind. One thing is certain: this is no longer just a social media feud. It has become a real-life example of how fame, power, and the legal system intersect in modern culture. And once those three forces collide, the consequences are rarely simple or temporary. As the saga between 50 Cent and Big Meech's brother continues, the focus shifts toward long-term consequences and the lessons this conflict reveals about modern celebrity culture. Media power and legal influence. What started as a personal dispute has evolved into a multifaceted situation involving legal restrictions, public perception, and control over cultural narratives. One of the clearest takeaways is the immense power of celebrity influence in shaping public opinion. 50 Cent, with decades of experience in music, business, and media production, demonstrates how a single figure can control narrative, perception, and even online discussion. His decision to publicly fire back at Big Meech's brother was not merely a reaction. It was a strategic move to dominate the conversation and assert authority. By doing so, he set the tone for how the public interprets every development, from blocked bail to forced court hearings. The blocked bail and court hearings themselves have added a layer of legal gravity to the conflict. While the court process may be procedural, its public impact is significant. Bail being denied signals that authorities view the matter seriously, while mandatory court appearances suggest that the legal system intends to closely monitor the situation. In a society where headlines often dictate perception, these developments create the impression that one side holds the upper hand, even before any verdict is reached. This combination of legal tension and celebrity influence shows how modern controversies operate differently than in the past. In the pre-digital era, disputes were contained within legal channels or word-of-mouth circles. Today, social media amplifies every statement, every reaction, and every rumor. The line between personal conflict, entertainment, and public spectacle is blurred, creating scenarios where reputations can be altered instantly, often without confirmation of facts. The BMF brand itself faces potential implications. The television series produced under 50 Cent's guidance has revitalized public interest in the story, generating revenue and cultural relevance. However, legal conflicts involving people tied to the real-life events could complicate future seasons, partnerships, and licensing deals. Networks and investors may need to reassess risks, while the public might begin questioning the authenticity of dramatized narratives versus real experiences. Even minor controversies have the potential to disrupt major media projects when they involve real-world legal consequences. Culturally, this conflict highlights tensions inherent in telling street histories through commercial media. Adaptations of real-life events always risk creating resentment among those whose lives are represented. Profits and recognition are rarely shared evenly, and public disputes arise when individuals feel misrepresented, excluded, or unfairly portrayed. 50 Cent's clash with Big Meech's brother exemplifies this challenge. The conflict is not just personal, but symbolic of a larger struggle over who owns stories and who benefits from them. Another aspect is public loyalty and bias. Fans often form opinions based on personal attachment to celebrities rather than objective facts. 50 Cent, with his survival story, business acumen, and cultural prominence, naturally garners loyalty. Meanwhile, Big Meech's brother, despite legitimate grievances, is limited in his reach and voice. Legal restrictions further silence him, reinforcing the narrative that 50 Cent has the upper hand. This imbalance reflects a broader trend where celebrity influence can overshadow legal realities and even factual context. Looking ahead, several outcomes are possible. The courts may issue decisions that clarify the legal standing of the case, potentially vindicating one side or creating enforceable restrictions. Alternatively, the matter may settle quietly or drag on, leaving public perception as the dominant factor in determining reputations. Either way, the conflict is unlikely to fade entirely. Its cultural, financial, and personal implications will persist. This case also serves as a cautionary tale about the power and danger of social media in modern disputes. Platforms amplify voices quickly, but nuance is often lost. Sensationalism, emotion, and perception dominate, leaving little room for careful legal or ethical reasoning. Those involved in conflicts like this must navigate not only interpersonal tensions, but also a global audience, hungry for drama. Finally, this controversy reinforces the idea that modern celebrity is inseparable from legal and media landscapes. Fame today is not just about artistic output. It is about narrative control, influence, and strategic public positioning. 50 Cent's handling of this situation, combining public statements, social media dominance, and careful alignment with legal realities, demonstrates an acute understanding of these dynamics. Whether one agrees with his methods or not, his approach shows the high stakes of contemporary celebrity disputes. In conclusion, the clash between 50 Cent and Big Meech brother goes far beyond personal grief. It is a vivid example of how fame, legal systems, and media converge in the digital era, shaping reputations, influencing public opinion, and creating consequences that can last far beyond any individual statement or court ruling. As forced hearings continue and legal processes unfold, the story will remain a landmark case study in celebrity power, media influence, and the delicate balance between narrative, truth, and perception.